Hi, today is January the 14th, 2019, and I am, excuse me, Jami Kwan, and I want to talk about being vulnerable and transparent. So, one of the reasons I don't come on here and speak a lot is because I am private. In my work as a social worker, in my own life, and because of the things that I have experienced in my life, I'm ultra private about myself and my family and my children, and often about my situation. And because of that choice, I have learned that while it can be helpful, it can also be a hindrance. And so I have had the feeling to have a video every day, commitment to have a video every day. And I am not doing that because of fear. And so when it's all said and done, it is either pain or pleasure in my mind, right? It's two things. And so for me, I understand that my commitment to myself is to do a video every day, and it doesn't have to be long. So instead of feeling fear, I'm just showing up. And in my showing up, I'm having a conversation with myself about understanding my choices. So I made some choices a couple of years ago, and the ramifications and the repercussions of those things as they have manifested, the fruition of them sometimes feels like a challenge. It feels like it's a challenge to carry them. It feels like it is hard sometimes, right? If it has felt hard at times. I have felt that I'm done and I want it to be over. But what I can talk about also is there's been so much transformation. As I look back at my life, I have had a tumultuous life in the sense that I've had a lot of changes. I've had very few moments of what most would consider substantial stability, being my father was in the military. And so what people consider stability of like living somewhere and staying there, that concept I appreciate. I appreciate the longevity of relationships and so forth and so on, but I've lived a global life. So while that all sounds interesting and wonderful, I am still here to say that there are lots of people and communities, in cultures who move, even today, that because of their society economics, they leave, and it's not a big deal. Military, we do it all the time, and there's no problem when a mother or a father leaves for 7 years and sees their children less regularly. So I had to process those whole that ideology of guilt, because after I chose to walk away from a marriage, I chose for my children to be with their father. And that meant, well, let me say this. We had two options. They could either stay with me or they could either stay with him. But I was not going to remain in the state that we lived in for financial reasons. I had lost my job and I needed to drastically reduce my living expenses. Simple. That simple. And because I consider myself a global citizen and I wanted to start small, I had a friend who lived in another state that was substantially less expensive, and in additionally way more helpful when it came to the job market. So I moved. It's simple. It makes perfect sense to me. But I have to also understand that I have a background that is filled with a blended family. So both of my parents married each other and then divorced and remarried and then divorced and then have had some kind of other relationships. And then I have my birth mother is one of five, my grandmother and great grandmother. So there is seven of those females on that side of the family. And then I have a multitude of cousins from them. And then my father was a sibling of three, one of three. And then his aunt, and they're right. And then my bonus mom was one of seven. And the array of relationships and forms and what that looked like. I mean, And then on and on and on, right? They worked, they had communities. We were part of a church. My dad was in the military. So I grew up in a world that was just very fluid and very eclectic. And I grew up in a world that was both rigid with rules and ideology, i.e. Christianity. My father was a chaplain, but then I grew up in a place that was very fluid, meaning culture, right? Languages, how people chose to live in their homes, what they ate, how they shared, how they grieved, how they celebrated. Um, I experienced that really early on because my dad just wasn't. My dad was a charismatic person in my youth, so we went to big churches, we went to big things. He really made an impression on me and what it meant to show up and to serve in your authenticity and what it meant to let things go when they no longer worked. My dad did. He was one to just be like, okay, this is not working. Well, let me go find something else. His ability to pick up something because it was profitable, not because he loved it, but he loved his life. And so the profitability of learning new things and picking up new skills allowed him to work less and be paid more, to do things that I had never seen a black man do. My dad at one point was making over $10,000 a month, and I was so impressed by that. I was like, oh my God, right? Like he had a business, and it was a legit business. And it was the first in our city. My dad owned a beauty supply store, and like a real beauty supply store, and it was just amazing, and it was packed, and it was, my dad just always pushed that envelope. And it was the same thing with education and traveling. I was fearless, and then I was filled with fear. I knew that it was possible because I had seen it done, yet I had seen so many other things that seemed impossible. And so I learned how to, even in fear, to still push, because even if it feels impossible, it's possible. That's one thing my dad taught me. Even if it seems like it can't happen, it can. You may have to put some shit down. You may have to switch up. You may have to try and try again. But um, breaking through, that takes just this continual do. It's not even a try. It's a continual do. My dad was in the military from his early 18, 19, 20. But he was still doing something else. Still doing something else. I remember him selling Amway. Um, I remember him doing detailing for cars, and that was very profitable. Another job that was probably about $10,000 a month. And again, no overhead, just very, very little overhead and lots of return. He just had this way of looking at things and finding a way. And he transformed himself over and over and over and over again. And it taught me how to do that. So there has been a time where everything I've worked for, everything I've wanted, everything I've desired, I have achieved it, quote unquote, some form or another. And then I watched it burn. And I have worked again and watched it burn and worked again and watched it burn. I am here to say that transformation happens continuously, constantly. It burns up, whatever it is, because we are ready for something new. And when you lose fear and you continue to have faith, when you lose fear and you understand what you have and what is inside of you is it, no matter what you do outside of you, what you have internally and how you put that forth externally, that's what counts. This is what matters. How you treat people, how you treat yourself, how you show up every day when you look in the mirror. Can you look yourself in the eye? Because if you can't look yourself in the eye, you definitely cannot look others in the eye. And so in my place of vulnerability and transparency, I am working on showing up for myself in the sense of I'm using my voice to remind people what it is to vibrate on that higher level of ownership. putting fear aside and walking in faith. And when I say faith, I don't want people to be discouraged or think I'm pushing some form of religion or anything like that, because I am not. Faith in yourself versus outside of yourself. How many times have you shown up? How many times have you made it through? Transformation is hard. And here's the thing. Faith is one thing, but you still need good works. You still need to understand how to use a tool. You still need to understand how to operate a machine. You still need to know how to use a program. And so it takes a combination of things. And that's what I had to learn. Life, me, is so multifaceted. So it wasn't one thing in my life that I needed to do to transform. It was a multitude of things, lots and lots of little fine threads that needed to be teased. And as I got the hang of that and then mastered that, life turned around. And so here I am today, being vulnerable, showing up, without a plan, meaning I don't have a structure. I'm working on that. But that's the thing that often holds me back. I don't have a structure. I don't have a, what is it called? A quote unquote plan. Like, I'm not put together. And then I say, you know what? But this is my comfort. This is my place. I don't want nudity because that's uncomfortable for people, but that is my closest comfort zone. And so if I want this authenticity, I'm like, I'm just going to show up and it's going to be okay. So see, there's my vulnerability. And every day I'm going to continue to show up. So until next time, thank you. My name is Jamie. You have shown up on my channel. And the Me I Was Tomorrow is my podcast. And as of today, it is in production. I have a producer and editor, and we have people that are getting ready for season 2, and we are putting out episodes. So I appreciate you. So down at the bottom in the show descriptions, please like, share, listen, review. The first few are rough. I get it. There's sound and it doesn't have a rhyme or reason maybe the way you've heard it before, and I appreciate that. But give it a try. It's something different and it's something new, and I appreciate you. So it's on all 10 platforms. If you need to contact me, my information is at the bottom. I love feedback. Leave some notes. If you would like to book, down at the bottom, I do coaching. I am a social worker with a master's degree that is turned into a life transformational coach, evolution, and a Toastmaster, public speaker, and all around Jamie. So until next time, be well. Turn this off. Hey.